Welcome, y'all. We had 4 waiting. We went down to 2. Hopefully those people who were checking in are going to recheck back in. I'm sure they will.
Well, make sure you either have both shoes off or both shoes on.
It's true.
Don't
That's
go
right.
with just one shoe.
Are we live?
We're live, man.
We're on there?
We're live. We're just getting things set up here. We're going to skip the ads.
I think this is for you.
It sure is.
Is there you guys passing notes to each other?
It said, "Will you
cute.
do my refi? Yes, no, maybe." Hell, Commanders.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us on a Tuesday evening. I'm Ken Marangolo. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'd like to welcome you to Thank God It's Tuesday. He's Kevin Ricka.
Hey, man, welcome to Thank God It's Tuesday. I'm going to echo those sentiments, and it's fun. We're all back together again.
We
had
are
another
back.
Week
We're
off,
all back
but
here.
When it's the three of us, it's when the magic happens. Right underneath this table. Now it's up to you,
That's
T.
thank God my legs don't get underneath this table. Thank God I'm too tall.
You
I'm
can.
sorry I missed last week again, guys. I mean, you got a little 3-year-old brings that bug home from the preschool and it just
yeah.
rips right through the family. Man, it was a rough week.
It was
I
the
missed you
mud
guys
bug,
again.
coach.
Yeah. But
happens.
no, it's good. I'm just thankful to be here, whether it's Tuesday or any other day. I'm thankful to be out again.
Welcome to the greatest board in the land, EO, AGH, Tom Marangolo, St. Bonnie's, eh?
Guys, baby. St. Bonnie's. Good evening, folks.
We
What
did
the
it.
hell's going on out here?
I don't know, but we have ourselves
All right.
a situation. So now that we're all three back together, we are 30 days away from the NFL draft in 2022, which is kind of amazing in the sense that, there's been some big headlines and some kind of, moves. I don't want to define them as big or small, but we've made moves. Moves have been made. Our team is different. It is, we'll address everything, but the big one that a rebuilding team needs to get right as much as humanly possible is the draft. It's been it's 30 days to the draft, but if you look backwards, it's like 3 months-ish since, anything meaningful was, happening for us on the field or in our world. So from a football standpoint. So I'm kind of excited about the fact that we're going to welcome a couple of new players. We're going to set the table because last week we promised, and maybe it was even 2 weeks ago we promised before T.
I made no promises. You were making all these promises.
We made a lot of promises.
It was
a lot
last
of
week about
promises.
the bigs.
We're going to talk offensive linemen. For the biggest reason, is because this draft is heavy on, no pun intended, like top offensive line talent.
As far as I know, every pun is intended, I believe. But continue.
They don't call him the greatest general counsel in the world for basement podcast general counsels for nothing.
Your dream.
Yeah, right.
All those years ago.
Paid so well.
We set it up. Listen, we just signed Charles Leno to a 3-year deal. He's getting paid. We just drafted Samuel Cosme. We like him. We think he's going to be the guy at right tackle. He is locked in. We paid Chase Rouillet. How much?
4 years, $40 million on the extender.
He ain't going anywhere anytime in the near term.
It would cost us $4 billion to cut him this offseason or next. He is our center for 2 years. That's fine.
Yep. So it kind of kills my Tyler Linderbaum dreams. We have Andrew Norwall. We just signed him to a decent-sized contract. We expect him to start at guard. So really,
Actually, 4.7 for next year. Not a big deal. For
his
that.
last deal was the mega deal.
Sure. And now he got paid, and now he's taking 2 years, $10 million, I believe.
It's a great deal for a team like ours because he's obviously a starter in the league. So that leaves one spot where you could argue the Washington Commanders aren't totally, committed to in the coming season. But we have both money and prospects in-house that you could use to make the argument against drafting an offensive lineman in the first round. So let's start there. So let's say we don't draft an offensive lineman in the first round. Of the guys we have, who's your favorite guy? Who's the guy you're penciling in and you expect to win the right guard spot, Kevin?
Right guard, we're going to go with the $5 million man.
Yeah.
Wes Schweikert.
And we're putting Angel on the left side next to Charles Leno, right?
Norwell is the left guard.
Yeah.
That's his spot. That's where he feels most comfortable, apparently, and that's where he's playing for us. So, I mean, Big Wes, Worldwide Wes, we need him to earn that $5 million. Also, we could cut his ass and save 4.8 with a $1 million dead cap hit. But I think after, he's been part of this team for a couple years, I think he gets that opportunity. That's the only thing that we discussed that we thought could be a possibility would be that right guard spot. If we don't think it's Worldwide West, it could be a rookie in the first or second, perhaps, maybe. I'm not
sure.
Second more so than first, I think. So we're not talking about the first, but I think that's the only issue right there. That's the only place I can see some business happening in the first round or two.
From a need standpoint.
And that means Sadiq Charles isn't anything, and he was a wasted pick, which none of us want him to be. But year 3, if he can't back up either guard or tackle spot, which he was doing both a little bit last year on paper.
Actually started for us for a little bit.
He did.
Yeah,
I think he got a couple starts in there.
I don't think it was graded especially high.
Nah, I know. And damn, I always thought he was kind of a beast in the SEC.
That was his
and we thought that
claim.
Yeah.
Strong, physical.
Alpha.
But he is not
SEC
that.
alpha usually transcends, and we'll see.
Good evening.
God damn it,
Rhett.
did not take a guard in the first. I don't want to.
I just
All
remember,
right, so
I just remember
we're
Jay
likely to not take a guard in the first, but
Jay Gruden saying, I mean, come on.
The guard in the second and saving 4.8 when we cut Big West.
The first round.
I still don't regret Brandon Sheriff in terms of talent. He belongs. He was an All-Pro. So if you draft an All-Pro in the first round, you did well. All right, so
we're not taking a guard or a tackle in the first round. None of us here believe that.
None of us here
Or
believe
center.
that,
But second round is a possibility.
we're going to lay out for you guys who will absolutely, possibly, maybe be available at number 11. And the reason why it's so tantalizing is because the kind of guy that would be left over, it's so crazy to call what we're going to choose between as leftovers. We might be looking at like the 4th or 5th best offensive lineman in the draft at number 11 who's still good enough to draft at number 11. That's what's intriguing about our spot if we draft at number 11.
And what's also intriguing is in our style of play, some of those guys that are going to go before then, we might not have had ranked as high. So I get what you're saying, but some guys are a better fit for different offenses. Obviously, I'm preaching to the choir here. Anyone on this board understands that.
Yep.
But that doesn't necessarily mean we're getting the 3rd or 4th best. We could be getting the 2nd best in our
for
opinion.
our scheme.
So
scheme specific. It's a scheme specific world we live in. So all right, I'll start things off with my favorite offensive lineman in this draft, who is, and it was Tyler Linderbaum. But I'm listen. I stand on a chair and yell about centers more often than I ever thought I would as a kid growing up, which is shocking because I thought it was going to be a lot.
More often than you thought as you could as a kid.
you're like,
I mean, strong up the middle, right? But he to me is first or second best offensive lineman in this
if you
draft.
get home from school first and you go outside and pretend you're snapping and just wait for everyone to come, that's weird. I'm sorry, but it guarantees it's your ball and you're playing. You're
Wasn't
in
it?
that 7-on-7
Wasn't it
game.
your dad who said, "Hey, you get to touch the ball in every play"?
No, he
You
told the
touch ball on
coach. He
every
said,
play.
you should let him touch on every play.
And the coach was like, "Okay."
Yeah. Like not meaning I should be like running the ball, meaning I was a good facilitator at handing it off or possibly maybe throwing a hitch. Yeah, that didn't work out great for me.
Ike Ekwonu, 310-pounder, 6'4" athlete from NC State. Listen,
We ain't sniffing him.
I've seen him go as low as 10,
Ooh.
which puts him in. And the only way he falls to us is if what you say happens, Kevin. If other GMs fall in love with a different guy because of different reasons, and there's almost no wrong answers in this top like 4 or 5 guys. So if you like a guy for a reason or two, you're going to take one of these guys. You're going to be super happy. Every single one of these guys over 300 pounds. We have 6'7" guys, 6'5" guys, 6'6" guys, a 6'8" guy. Trust me, there's starting Pro Bowl level offensive linemen available when we draft. I like Ike Ekwonu. He's violent. He's physical. He's strong, and he is. I think he is the answer to nice one. I think he's the answer to the beastly edge rushing evolution. Whoever he plays tackle for this year is going to have a quarterback that feels pretty damn good about whoever that he's guarding, and he's going to be guarding like a 6'5", 290-pound beast. And he's probably going to be able to handle that guy almost anytime.
I love it. Like as a tackle, he's going to guard him.
He's going to guard him. Yeah.
Or how about you just say he marks him?
He's going to mark him.
I don't think he's doing any of that shit. To be honest, he's not guarding or marking anyone. But I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Appreciate you. I understand.
They block in football.
Is that what
They
happens?
don't guard people.
I'm only worried about centers. So this is different for me. It's a whole new world.
I just love when they're like, I've got him. No, I've got him.
Sir, you're the left
Fine, get
tackle.
him.
You should be guarding the right edge.
I'm sure that mid-sentence beef probably didn't help out.
No, it threw me all the way off.
I get it.
Thankfully, the roasted broccoli is really masking everything.
Yeah, thankfully.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
All right, so Ike Ekwonu, he's my favorite offensive lineman in this draft. I don't think he's lasting until number 11.
No.
But so let me ask you guys before you get. I'll tell you what. Before I say mine, just tell me who your favorite offensive lineman in this draft is, maybe and why.
Well, the guy that we're never getting, Evan Neal, big
course.
nasty, 6'7",
That's okay.
337, Alabama mauler. If you're that's the dude, I think. But,
Okay.
I mean, that's the obvious dude. Everyone would like to say that would be the dude. So
6'7", 350, obviously.
well, he's just battle tested. He's been through the program. He's got that side. That's the prototype, right? That's the guy. Yeah, I think he's. So whoever gets him is happy as shit, and especially for the next 4 years playing with a fifth-year option on that contract. You have the cornerstone of your offensive line.
And he's the least likely to make it to number 11, probably.
Oh, without a doubt.
See, do you have a favorite?
So I was more with you, Ken. I loved Linderbaum for the longest time. Being a former quarterback, that connection you have with a center. The center is the quarterback of the line. But knowing what our situation is, that's just not a reality for us. I thought the only guy left really to talk about that could still be there at 11 is Cross. Who again, I don't think right now is a player of need that we need right now. It's not a guy you plug in at a right guard spot. So
No.
But that would be, in my opinion, if we really did go O-line, that'd be the guy that would be there.
Charlie?
Possibly.
Yeah, I know I like this is why I've always liked draft time. I don't the board, in case you're just tuning in, like there's no illusion here. We don't think we're taking an offensive lineman in the first. But this is the talent level of these offensive linemen is worth talking about for a couple of reasons. This is why we always have done draft profiles year-round at Hawks Haven, and why I always felt strongly about it. These are guys who are either going to be all-pro, next-level, all-world guys for their team for an entire career, or could potentially be available in a second and third contract year. And I think that it's important to know who these guys are. These are going to be some of the best players who come into the league this year. We should know who they are. We should know what their strengths are. We happen to have two incredible edge rushers in Montez Sweat and Chase Young. And at some point in time, probably this season, I'm guessing, our guys are going to have to go up against one of these guys, an Icky or an Evan Neal, Shoot, or Raymond, or what's his name, Falele, the Minnesota guy. So we're going to have to go up against these guys. We should know what we're getting ourselves into.
Bro, Falele, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Was on the sidelines when we covered St. John's IMG. In 2016, he came. It's the coolest story ever. I'm sure. Just real quick. From Melbourne, Australia, 6'9", 380, rugby player, shows up. Some coach from Hawaii saw him at a satellite camp in Australia run by Jim Harbaugh. 6'9", 280-pound rugby player who came to the United States, sat on the sidelines at IMG for 1 year to gain. He had never seen one down of football. He's now come, I want to say, 9,300 some odd miles to sit for a year, play for a year, get 20 scholarship offers, start at Minnesota as a true freshman.
Yep.
This guy is a mountain of a man, and I think it would be a pretty cool guy, but certainly a second-round type cat.
Well, he is being, we got to go live here. Let's hit the live button. So he is being projected into the first round by a couple of different places.
Sure.
And
he's all over the place with his lack of experience. He's
Someone's
played
gonna-
4 years of football.
If Al Davis was still alive, he's a measurable guy. He's going to say, I don't know how fast he is.
I want him.
I want him to play tackle for me.
Yeah.
I want that guy.
I want that guy.
He's kind of a project guy, but with that body, he can make up for a lot of mistakes.
So here's the question.
Go ahead.
Everyone on
Sorry,
the
I had to
board
get
feels-
that out. That guy's so interesting.
I'm fascinated by him, and he's exactly the kind of player that if I'm watching the draft and my team drafts him, I'm giddy. I'm drinking a little faster. I'm having a little bit more fun because
Pants are wrapped right around your ankles.
I just love guys like that in the first
Yes,
and
indeed.
second round.
It's fun time.
On Thursday.
Yes, I
Yes,
know.
indeed, it's fun time.
I know. I've walked in and had to walk out quickly.
I'm out of here. Listen,
Ryan Kelly got drafted, and those they came right to the waist.
Put
those ankles when Kelly
the
went.
towel on the door.
Oh boy.
So, all right. So, easy question first. We already set up the offensive line, and we've essentially built the case for why we do not need to draft an offensive lineman at number 11. We built that case.
Yeah,
It's a strong case. Makes a ton of sense. So, Kevin, first question is to you. If something crazy happens, open your mind up to some craziness here. If something crazy happens and Evan Neal is sitting there at number 11, and we've done nothing. We've not cut anyone. We've not traded anybody. Everything is as it is right this second. Are you racing to the podium with Evan Neal's name
Nah,
right
that
now?
means there's some photographs. There's
Okay.
there's a marijuana test. There's a angry
Okay.
X. There's
A picture of him wearing a mask with smoke coming out of it.
Yeah, but that
We saw-
doesn't make
what
him
was that?
any
Who was
worse
that?
of a
That was
tackle. That
Tunsil,
was
was it?
Russell
That was Tunsil,
Okung,
wasn't
I
it?
believe.
Yeah.
Was that
No, it wasn't Okung, was it?
was that Laramie Tunsil?
Was it Tunsil?
Yes, it was Tunsil. I think
Tunsil,
it wasn't
yeah.
Okung.
Tunsil's still doing just fine. In the
Oh,
league,
he's
by
doing
the way.
great.
Very high lung capacity.
Oh yes, very mild, mellow, a little bit hungry, sometimes euphoric.
Miami gave Houston everything for him, almost. But
It's good for hunger, PTSD, and stress.
yes, he's handling all of those issues extremely
No,
well.
but when you put like a personal gas mask on with a possible
It's a bad look.
attachment,
Like if we're to come out like literally on draft night, I believe, right? Like it was like, are we gonna pick him or are we not gonna pick him? And all of a sudden, the whole draft room went silent. And I mean, it was almost like on the big screen of the draft room they put on the video. All right, so if Evan Neal, so let's be a little bit more. Let's do something a little bit more realistic. And T, this you get to start the question, then you get to follow up because you know what I'm probably gonna say. If Ike Ekwonu is sitting there at number 11, and you believe, well, I'll tell you what I believe after you tell me what you believe. Do you think we put his name on a card and put him on our team if he's there at number 11?
Well, I certainly don't think you can do anything wrong by doing that.
Okay.
Obviously, you're going to have to do some shuffling. He's going to have to be your day one starter. What do you do with, Charles Leno? What do you do with,
I think Cosmic goes to guard because he's done it before.
I guess.
I'm not saying that's ideal.
That's a great problem to have.
That's a
Or,
great problem to
or
You just
do
you just got
or
me
do
a
you
little
use
excited
it
about that.
to acquire more
What it
picks?
is. Sorry.
Do you use that to acquire more picks? Do you find a team
Yep.
that's willing to come up and take him at that point because he's probably not going to slip any further, and do you use it to your advantage to get more out of it?
Well, the key, if we trade back, and this was said in our pre-production green room meeting, obviously, was the ability to gain back a third-round pick. If you trade back in the first round, someone's going to give you their first-round pick, potentially a first-rounder next year, depending on how close they are, how far away they are, and a second or third-round pick in the next couple of drafts. I think that's absurd, capital. I would love to net that, but so would everybody. So getting back a third rounder in this year's draft would be huge for us. So how about this? How
I
about
still
let's
think it's
queue
a
up
huge possibility that
trade
we're
back.
trading back.
Let's do some trade back possibilities next week. Let's do the trade back week is next week. How about that?
Trade back.
Trade back week. That's what we want. But sorry. So offensive line. Obviously, I don't think there's any reason why we race to the podium with Tyler Linderbaum's name. He's probably going to be there anyways. I don't think Charlie Cross is someone we're going to draft at number 11, and I think Falele and Raymond are both monster prospects that are probably natural. They're probably more bottom of the first round rated. So, watch guys like Evan Neal, watch guys like Ike Ekwonu, and I don't think there's a fear on Ron Rivera's part to add a player if he thinks that player is going to be that much of a difference maker, and it just strikes me that this draft has offensive linemen who are difference makers for what it's worth.
Here's the type of guy I'm thinking, and I'm just getting this off my chest real quick. Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. This is the type of cat I think that we would step up in the second round for this particular reason. In his 3 years as a starter, he's a badass. He played left tackle 81 snaps, left guard 1,098, one snap at center, 853 at right guard, and 142
Texas
at right tackle. He played all five spots.
He was the guy in the second round because he's played guard, and it would be the best fit for us.
Well, he's played everything, but guard looks like the spot.
Yeah.
And in the second round,
That's a great fit.
Here's why he's a great fit, because he was first round all over him. Coming out of high school, he was a top 5-star recruit, the whole nine, and he tested poorly at the combine. He didn't run the time he wanted to. He didn't bench as much. He's a powerhouse. He's a lineman. I don't care about watching him doing all the other shit. I love guys like that don't test well at the combine because they're football players who've played 5 different positions and sacrificed everything for the sake of the team. In fact, he wasn't a tackle. He could spot start, but he got a lot of the shit he got for his poor technique at tackle when he hadn't played it in freaking 2 years. So that's the type of guy I think that the versatility,
he's the best at guard.
The beastliness, the SEC pedigree as a 3-year starter, the first-team All-American status, who had a poor combine. Great, you had a poor combine.
That helps. That helps.
I love that. Him. So that's the end of my O-line.
There you go. But for Kenyon Green, just to finish off the talk on Kenyon Green, because he's a guy I circled too, because he is so just like a half a step back. The coolest thing about the draft when it comes to drafting offensive linemen, if you're really wanting to draft offensive linemen, is top of the first round, probably into middle of the first round, you're getting blue chip tackles who've always played tackle. There's instant start tackles.
Yes.
But you have this whole other level because the best offensive lineman on your team in college, most college programs, is going to be that left tackle, maybe that right tackle, just stud athletes. By the bottom of the first and through the second and third, those tackles are looked at as guards in the league. And they're being brought in to play.
Especially the ones that have 32-inch arms, not 34-inch.
Or they're 6'3" as opposed to 6'5".
There's always something weird.
Yeah, so
true.
Kenyon Green is 6'4", 3 1/4. So he's just like he's a refrigerator, and he. One of the coolest things about him is he's a pocket. He's a pocket guy. He creates a pocket like no one's business. And if you don't put your hands on him, if you're a defensive lineman and you don't put your hands on him, he like finds someone to hit, and it could be he's just active and aggressive.
The term powerhouse was said about him on multiple outlets. So apparently, he ain't effing around. He's moving men. He is. He might not win the 50-yard dash. I love it. He plays real sports.
He's on my list of guys.
Not trying to be the best at exercising.
Not trying to be the best at exercising.
Eastbound and down, brother.
He is a guy
Kenny Powers,
who I'm looking at if we trade down, by the way. Because Kenyon Green could I don't think you're reaching for him in the bottom of the first. I do not.
We love these dudes.
Yes.
We love these dudes. These versatile, badass.
And he starts for us right away. He starts for us on day one at right guard. At right guard.
If that's the case.
Yes. And no one complains about it because you just drafted a starting right guard.
And then we cut Worldwide West and pick up 4.8 cash.
Then you got to find someone who wants that money. And we're having a hard time with that a little bit.
Yeah, it's very true.
I want the money. You guys want the money.
We'll find somebody.
He wants the money.
We'll find somebody that wants to tackle some SOBs at that middle spot that could take a couple bucks for his troubles.
All right. Well, when is the First Amendment Sports mock draft, EO says?
What are we mock drafting is the real question here.
So I will say next week is trade back week. That's going to be April 5th. No take back. April 5th. So then April 12th and April 19th are actually, and then we have 3 more shows before we get going. So we have I think mock draft should be the April 20. What was that? 26th. First round's the 28th.
I think that makes it rock out with our mock out.
Let's rock out with our mock out.
Version 6, volume 6, I think. We've only done a couple rounds.
It's happening.
Then we've gotten exhausted. I think that's happened in the past. We've gotten to round 3 or 4.
We might have to set up at KOC that Thursday night. First round could be exciting. Yeah. Mock draft next week, picks 1 through 12. You know what? It is trade back week, so
I don't know. I'd rather rock out with my mock out.
We're gonna rock out with him. That is
Just saying.
straight up happening.
I'd rather than it's trade back. You know, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Maybe, possibly, should.
I love my favorite thing about because you guys know I geek out on GM stuff. I love I'm the guy who plays the Madden. I know a lot of people on this board are too. I love playing the front office aspect of Madden. I love playing the game as well, but I like building that franchise and drafting. I love it. I think it's super fun. In my general manager, no matter what team I'm rooting for, whether it be the Wizards, the Nationals, the Caps, the Redskins football team, or Commanders, whatever it is, I want my GM to have balls. When it's your turn to pick, decide who the best one is. Sorry, that's it wasn't just. I wasn't trying to be gender specific.
I feel bad for the one ball GMs.
The one ball GM. All right, fair enough.
In this world, you always have to look out for the underdog.
Have at least one ball. When it's your turn to pick somebody. I want my GM to know what he thinks about everybody and to have the conviction to write a name on a card and send it to the front of the draft. I understand trading back. Everyone wants to trade back, and when you trade back, everyone is going to be happy about it because we gain picks, blah blah blah. But when it's your turn, if you're in the NFL and you're making these guys make tens of millions of dollars to be in this position of power, have a ball or two and put a name on a card.
Don't be offended if you only have one.
Just do it. I mean, we're here for all bald people. I want my guy to believe in his process and tell me who the best guy is and go get him. Don't be wishy-washy about it. I feel like sometimes there's GMs out there who are looking to get rescued with a trade back, and I think our guy has been guilty of that at multiple times in the top 2 or 3 rounds. Trading back not because it was the best option for us. Trading back because he just didn't know what the hell he wanted to do when it was his turn to pick. I hate that.
Yeah, well, sometimes the number game worked out for old Brucey. He there's a couple of times he was like, "Oh, Jonathan Allen's left. Okay."
I'll think
he was pretty good at that part.
That up. Yeah.
No, exactly. But yeah.
All right, so let's move away from offensive linemen and big ball GMs. Also, if you are going to do us one favor tonight, click on the subscription button. It would mean just the world to us. It's free. Click the notification bell. You'll get notified when we put out videos, both live and otherwise. And just if we say one little thing that you like in any way whatsoever,
balls.
Like balls. Click that thumbs up sign. We just couldn't appreciate it more. I mean,
or mono ball.
We're like lab rats. Yeah, you see someone just clicked the thumbs up and it made us super happy. Appreciate you guys. It is a Bushmills Black Bush Side EO. I love the eyes on you. I think it's a great bottle of booze.
And a great segue after
it is true.
One in the hand, 2 in the bush.
One in the hand
after a GM
or one in the bush.
Thing. I don't know. It just felt like it worked.
It's a great bottle.
It's delicious.
It is. It's worth picking up. It's drinkable, which it's a low bar in the basement.
It's one of my favorite middies.
That's what I'm talking about. It plays offense and defense. Yeah. It runs the whole field. Yeah. It doesn't come off the field in situations. It plays every single down. Iron Man style.
It's dependable.
That's the Black Bush.
Nice slow burn.
Come to learn and love. All right, so we're going to stay with the draft, but now we're going to segue away from the offensive line and into some situational stuff. And so I'm going to ask you guys, and I'm going to ask the board this as well. I want to know, this assumes that we pick at number 11. We're not giving the pick away. We're not trading it away. We're not moving down. We're not doing anything. We're taking a guy at number 11, and it's not going to be an offensive lineman necessarily. What's the way I worded it on the text chain today? And I'm going to pull this up right now so I can give us
boner stabbing. I think it was.
It was boner stabbing. I think you're right. All right, so where's because T says here it is here. Okay, so basically here's the deal.
With a cocktail sword. Nice job, dude.
It's a cocktail sword with 2 olives. 2 olives.
No, you have to have an odd number. It has to be 1 or 3.
One has a pimento, the other a blue cheese. It's a weird combo, but that's what T likes.
God.
Quote.
What type of GM are you?
Finish this sentence.
One has blue cheese.
I didn't make it. You're the bartender.
No, the pimento is what pisses me off. Go ahead.
The draft experts might say it's a reach, but I would be excited if we drafted blank at number 11. Now, again, think of the entirety of that sentence. Don't give me, Kyle Hamilton if he's, that does not work in this sentence.
We Tiger Woods them out. I did.
Why?
Tiger Woods. Because if he's available at number 11, you're racing to the podium with his name.
Depending on who else is available. But yes, that's a...
And he's not a reach at 11.
No, that would be a great... I think we would all be
then what's a
copacetic.
reach?
That's a... Not a reach. No.
Can I...
Go, please go.
Yeah,
please
I will...
go.
You set the parameters. You go first.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So the draft experts might say it's a reach, but I would be excited if we drafted Nakobe Dean at number 11. As an example. Now,
I think he's going to be available.
Well, he'll be available.
Kobe Dean?
He'll be available.
He might be available at the 11th pick of the second round.
It's
I know.
possible.
I mean,
So
Kendrick wants his guy. Let's let him finish.
so you're reaching the other way.
That's the reach around.
I'm
You
reaching
reach
all the way
around.
around.
Yeah, you
This
reach
is a
around.
Straight reach
See,
around.
I reach. I go directly.
All right,
I go
so-
directly for the reach.
So Nakobe Dean, I'm done with the 6 foot days. He has officially shrunk to
Reach around
5'11".
it always screws
He's no
you.
longer 6 feet.
He's 5'10 and 3/4.
He might be 5'10 and 3/4.
He's no longer 5'11.
He might no longer be 5'11". He is undersized is the word you'll hear said about him the most of everything, which I don't mind at all. I like in my coverage, middle or inside linebacker. I like that size. I do. I think
Petite?
I wouldn't say he's petite.
Compact.
Compact.
I'm talking about in pass coverage. That's
Sure.
all.
He's not going down the seam, 50 yards with anybody, unless, we beg him to. Underneath running backs, underneath tight ends, I think he's going to be just fine. So I also want to be careful because the other thing you hear about him the most is how smart he is. He's a super smart guy. And smartness matters, but maybe not as much as I'm hearing people talk about him. I'm like, all right, I know he's smart. Is there anything else you want to say about him? Like, he's a really smart guy, but sometimes a middle linebacker has to be, more than just like crazy super smart. So he's crazy super smart. He recognizes plays. So the size things tends to be overcome by his diagnosis of plays. He's quick through the line of scrimmage. He's shifty in blitzes. He's a sure tackler at the point of attack, chest first. Draft experts might say it's a reach. They might not be wrong. Nakobe Dean starts for us on day one. He helps us out with Jamin Davis by kicking him out on the side. And I'm not saying that's who we're going to get or even that's who I think we should get. But the draft experts say he might be a reach. But I'd be excited if we drafted Nakobe Dean at number 11. T? You want to take the next one?
So yeah, we're going. So you're.
Well, so
we're doing the reach and the reach around.
You want to reach around. You were saying
we can reach either
what's
way.
The reach for. I was saying, I thought you meant the guy that we definitely don't expect to be there that might still be there.
Oh, I see. No,
that was the reach.
The pick would be a reach. I think someone who is probably not picked by everyone to go number 11 overall, but that you think you would. But what if we took him number 11 overall? You'd be like, all right, I can see why they're saying we're reaching for him, but I can also see why our team wants him to play for us. And I don't know, and I apologize, if that didn't come through on the.
I'm just going to go with the abracadabra. Going to reach out and grab you when T is done.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, of course.
We're just getting too technical.
Well, I mean, the problem is I think you got guys right around 11. That's not so much of a reach, like Stingley and some a cornerback or something like that.
Don't take my guy. Don't reach down and just take my guy after I let you go.
That would be a Stingley because other than that, it's edge rushers.
I want Stingley.
But it's edge rushers from there on out. So why would we take another edge rusher unless we're going to deal one?
Or another corner. There's corners all day.
Yeah, there's corners all day. But
that would be my corner, T-Bird. I'm going to tell you this. Derek Stingley Jr.'s freshman year, he was dominant. I remember watching multiple games and thinking, who was this guy guarding last year? We always talk about that. But I know he was guarding in practice that year.
Yeah.
Boys, his freshman year, before before all the shit hit the fan. He was guarding as a freshman. Every day he was going up against Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Terrace Marshall.
And Terrace Marshall, yeah.
Bro, man, come on, man. That was at practice every day. You don't think that guy got better, and better, and he showed up as a stud? We all heard Fred Smoot come out and say how much he loved him, and that would be the biggest mistake we would make around here. So, T, I'm going to agree with you on that. I don't know if I have to say another guy, but how about this? Derek Stingley Jr. helps in the return game, man.
I'll say another guy.
He helps in the return game, and it looks like we're going to need another
Now
guy.
that I understand what Ken was trying to get at, I think another guy is Jamison Williams, right? Wide receiver that I think is a beast.
But no one's going to call him a reach if we
Absolute
take him at
beast.
11, I don't
At
think.
11, you don't think so?
Maybe.
I think he's rated as the second highest wide receiver by a lot of places. He's 6'2", stupid athletic. I actually have him at number 11, right here as the number 11. But to your point, is he the number? I don't know. I think he's next level good.
I mean, but you got Garrett Wilson, Drake London.
Traylon Burks.
Well, that was my other guy that I have written down.
Traylon Burks. Traylon Burks is
I said
legitimate
3 weeks
because-
ago he'd be my first choice at wide receiver. Traylon Burks
Yep.
is big Debo, and I hate the comparison except for he's big Debo. It's what he is. It's what he does.
Yeah.
They were both confused. Their game speed is understood by guys who've watched tape for millions of years. Their time speed is not understood by draft prognosticators. This guy's a big, burly mountain of a man.
Yep.
His
6'2".
versatility is no joke. That's what our whole branding is with these guys that we've been trying to get, and I love his badassery.
He's run after catch guy.
He's a badass, sudden movement, hard to tackle, filthy, dirty football player.
He played every single wide receiver
Forget
spot.
about it. This is the Kenny Powers eastbound and down. He plays real sports. He's not trying to be the best at exercise. If you watch that game speed and see anyone caught his ass, you're lying.
The one thing about the knock on him, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say about this as former quarterbacks, is that he lets the ball get into his body when he catches. So they're trying to. He's a cradle catcher. You know,
That's a no-no.
It's tough.
Easily fixable.
Is he okay? That's my question because I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know if it's easily
I don't know
fixable.
the answer to that.
It is
So I'll
fixable.
take your
People
word
have
for it.
fixed it.
If you watch Traylon Brooks play football and you don't think he can adjust his way of catching, he is a force to be dealt with who adores the sport. He's a guy that will fix it. And that's something that if you and I watch tape, it might have happened 3 times. You're having a tough day. I'm having a great day. I like Traylon Burks. You and I have argued. You'll be like, look at him. He lets the ball get to his body. It happened twice on film. Now you're stamped that way.
Yeah.
The dude goes up and gets the ball and comes down with it. He's
And-
got strong-ass mitts.
And when he has the ball, and he's a wide receiver for a reason, he can catch. He's not just like some guy who can't catch the ball. He's just the way he catches, people are worried about at the next level. But when he gets the ball, he's very, very hard to tackle. So I'm showing him. I am. By looking at where everyone else is saying. Trust me, I'm the dumbest guy in the world when it comes to this stuff. But he's mid first round guy. So at number 11, he is going to be there when we're picking number 11. Traylon Brooks is for
100%.
sure going to be there. This underlines the idea of this I
But I
should say
feel like a
underlines.
lot of those guys we just said are also going to be there at 20 through 31.
I don't think Traylon Burks will be there 20. I don't think
19,
Jameson
20,
Williams will be there
yeah,
20.
Yeah, I think they could be. A
So
lot of
they
those guys
could
that we
be,
talked
but I mean,
about.
I would.
And if you
I'd be
trade
interested in
back,
betting.
and I know it's not a trade back scenario, but if you trade back, then you have not only more picks, but still an opportunity to take.
When I put a bottle of
at least one
Blackbush?
of those 3 or 4 guys we just talked about.
Give me a parlay for a bottle of Blackbush. I say both Jameson Williams and Traylon Burks are gone by number 20. Both. I got to have both for me to win.
I
Blackbush.
I got you on that.
You want that?
Blackbush.
Bottle Blackbush
There's
for-
no way Traylon and Jameson. What was the pick number? 20. That's a great bet. I just think that one of them is still available. I think they're going to go quarterback crazy, baby.
That's going to happen.
I know the
All right.
O-line, the edge. And by the way, I love what Greg Martin is saying here. Skip the receiver in the first. We highly outlined the 20-year monstrosity of first
Yes.
and second round wide receivers.
I'm with it.
We all agree.
I'm with
sir.
that.
Let's skip the shit out of wide receiver in the first round for posterity's sake, or just because, I don't know, we've been burnt.
But the idea, we haven't even dove all the way in yet because I also have So I did highlight Icky. And Stingley, I didn't. The only reason why I didn't highlight Stingley is because I don't believe in my heart we'll have any chance of sniffing him in this draft. I think he's gone in the top 10. I mean, he's a top 10 player. He should be going in the top 10.
He's mocked out. This is 50-50 whether he gets to 11. I don't think it's a huge reach.
No,
How
I
can
don't
we
think it is at
elevate
all.
I think it just depends
most mocks
on-
I've seen he has not gone before 11.
Right. I mean, and it just depends on the defensive philosophy. Although this dude in man-to-man, this dude can play it all because he tackles, he's tough, he can play man, he's got oily hips. I've never read that before, and I love all the adjectives. I do. I love how we've come along and football has changed in the last 20 years, and we're all in it. Oily hips. What a great thing to say. I'm going to say it moving forward. I'm admitting it now. I stole it. Oily hips.
Anyone want a
don't like
bottle of
that.
Teeling small batch? It's a small bottle. It's not a big bottle. Just a small batch bottle of Teeling that says Stingley is gone by the time we draft. Just saying.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
We got quite a weekend ahead of us.
Whiskey gambling.
All right, so we got a Black Bush bottle. I'm just gonna write this down. And we got a bottle of Teeling, small batch. It's just a little tiny little bottle. Just a little bottle of Irish. Black Bush says that Jameson Williams and Traylon, is that how we're saying his name?
Yes.
Are gone by number 20. Gone by number 20.
And also, yes, you get Jameson Traylon.
Do I get number 20?
Jameson Traylon.
We said
That's a push. That's a push.
20 is a push.
That's a
20 is a push. So 20.5. All right, Teeling Small Batch says Derek Stingley is gone by number 11. By when we draft. No
He
push.
gone.
No push. If he's there when we
I think
draft.
Stingley is available.
But I like Ahmad Gardner a lot.
Sauce Gardner's a bad
He's
son of a
saucy.
bitch. But I would take either one of those guys, and I feel the same way about both. Great additions. They're different
Yes.
players. Great additions to your place. Great additions to our place. Great additions to anyone's place.
So
do love
I'm
Sauce.
super uncomfortable. So every year I do my the best player in the draft, and I'm having a real hard time with this one because right now I think the best player in the draft is Ike Kwanwu, but I'm not willing to fight to the death on that.
Yeah, I think Evan Neal whips his ass in the street fight.
All right, fair enough. And
Oh, I'm not saying I know this.
he probably does.
Who
He's
does?
6'7".
I'm just
he's
guessing.
6'7", 500 pound.
And I want the guy that wins that fight.
I want the guy that wins that fight.
Who's he
too.
fighting?
Iquanu and
Neil.
in the
Neil.
street fight. I'm taking the I'm saying Roll Tide, and he comes out of that alley.
Sauce Gardner is on my radar in terms of best player in this draft. Now I'm trying to do a couple
G-Love
things.
is special sauce. I mean, we can go all day with this sauce.
is.
This is so saucy.
I'm trying to do a couple things. I'm not trying to be smarter than the GMs who are making these picks, and the guys are going to go places where they're going to be better than you think because they're going to the right place.
Right.
And good players are going to be worse than you think because they're going to the wrong place. And this happens every year, including when we draft guys. Sauce Gardner has the potential to be a name you see every single Sunday as a casual football fan. If you tune into ESPN to watch highlights or if you're watching the ticket, I think he shows up. I think he shows up on tape. He's 6'3". He's smooth. Yeah. He's dangerous. He's so dangerous. And this quarterbacks are going to throw the ball. And
Quarterbacks be slinging it, don't they,
Quarterbacks-
T-Bird?
They tend to throw
They
that
be
ball.
throwing it.
and there's
Sometimes,
to time.
And there's a lot of
sometimes they
bad
hand
ones.
that shit off.
There's a lot of bad quarterbacks right now.
You say some
a lot
funny
of
shit sometimes,
bad. All right, passing is up in the NFL in this era.
Yes.
It's tailor made
Stop ruining my fun.
for Sauce Gardner. All
Fair
right.
enough. Fair enough.
Sometimes they pitch it.
As
by
soon
the
as
way.
Iquandu is done guarding or marking whoever,
He's guarding somebody?
it's
The
gonna
more
be-
the ball goes
One-on-one.
up, the better your percentages are if you get a guy that goes and gets it from the other side of the ball.
I like
Is that what you're trying to say?
I think I hear.
Go
I
get the
got
guy
it
that
now.
gets it a lot.
Don't like that. Whatever you do not like that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Dare you? Hated it.
Oh, fluid. He's sauce because he's fluid because he's sauce. So I love Gardner. I think of all the players that we've said tonight, in the most realistic scenario in my mind of someone who may very well be sitting there at number 11, I don't think Sauce Gardner should be there. I think he should be picked more than 11 because I think he's better than that. I think he's one of the best players in this draft. I think he's top 5 athlete. I think he's top 5 NFL players in this draft. And I'm really having a hard time talking myself into or out of really putting him up there with Aiden Hutchinson, Evan Neal,
Well,
and
let me ask you this:
Quantum.
what would you do if Thibodeau was there at 11?
I'm not taking him.
Here's the deal. Best player available, which I've always agreed with, is put to the test in this draft with some of these scenarios.
If Thibodeau's
At
there,
tackle
I mean,
and edge,
holy crap!
but
I'm
that
not
means
doing it.
that means that his
You
ex
take one of the three
talked
are
to
gone.
another ex, and they decided to try and get a quick 50. Like
Do
there's
you
just
use,
I don't get it.
Is Chase and or Sweat now?
What
on
does
a
it mean
block?
to you if someone tells you this guy's got tight ankles? That he just doesn't explode off the line.
Tight ankles.
Yeah. Does that mean anything to you guys?
I don't
You
know.
guys
Never
been
heard.
around.
What
I
does
said
tight
oily
ankles
hips.
mean?
I'd never heard oily hips till this week, and now tight
Can you have
ankles.
Tight
oily
ankles.
hips and tight ankles? Because
I think he's getting
Now
knocked.
really-
I think he's burst, and I think
Is that worse than cankles?
it's not worse than Cankles.
Fuck no.
Because
Fuck no, it isn't.
Because where do the calves begin and then where do the ankles start? Who knows?
It's hideous.
Who knows?
Cankles are hideous unless you have them.
You do not draft Cankles that high in the first round. Everyone knows this.
can you?
Everyone knows
How
this.
can you?
ankles.
How can you tight ankles?
Tight
I
ankles.
think that's new school for cankles.
It might be new school for
I'm just
Cankles.
guessing here.
I think he's getting knocked for Cankles. I think he's going to be your first guy who doesn't get drafted in the top 10 for Cankles.
You can't wear high heels or high tops ever.
And before or after Labor Day, what's he even going to do? There's shoe choices alone are just crazy.
And the wide foot flip flop isn't a good look either.
My point being,
can't
what
go
if the best
Birkenstock.
player available is that stud edge guy, of which we have two already?
I can't do it.
Do you pass on it?
I do.
How do you put them in the same room knowing that he's replacing one of you two? Like that's just it's not competition at that point. That's like there's a
Lord
slot.
of the Flies.
I'll
It
tell you what,
is,
though.
it
I'll
is,
tell you
it
what,
is.
though.
And part of it is competition, but when you have those guys as high draft choices, that's when everything gets ruined.
But also, if
Yes, Greg.
trading
Bedroom
back is good because you can get more picks, what kind of damage can you do, or better yet, what kind of additions can you make to your roster if you have three of those edge rushers and one of them is dealable?
Yeah.
Smoke Monday.
I know, but in the day and age of what have you done for me
at that
lately?
point,
What we
at
need
that
is Smoke
point-
Tuesday.
At
Ken.
that
We do
point,
need
at
Smoke
that
Tuesday
point,
tonight. It's
if
Tuesday.
one of Chase and or Sweat were on the trading block, then you are in maybe some sweepstakes for a Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson type player if they become available.
Well, agreed, but on this rookie contract that we have both of them on, it's hard to be like, oh, we're going to keep everyone happy. No one's going to be happy if we draft one Aiden Hutchinson. There's going to cause some friction.
Well, Aiden Hutchinson is so this. I mean, I have a real hard time with calling him the best player in this draft. I do. I think he's
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
super solid. I love watching him play. I grew up liking Michigan mostly because we had 3 channels as a kid. NBC was one of them. I watched Michigan and Notre Dame on Saturdays because that's all I could watch.
They
and I
played
watched
the
them
first or second week of September every year.
every year.
My birthday, September 17th. I spent 5 years watching Notre Dame, Michigan during the afternoon. You were there. It was always on that weekend. How weird is that? You had the Labor Day shit locked up, though.
I don't want to make a hard transition necessarily, especially given some of the ball talk we've had
Just
so
go
far tonight.
flaccid with it, Ken.
But-
it's your show.
It is. First of all, it's not my show; it's our show.
Well,
With Benjamin in the basement.
when the word flaccid is
Just
said,
don't-
it automatically becomes
I
yours.
don't like
Oh, do
limp
the
turns. I
humorous-
don't.
Do the humorous anecdotes.
Limp
that T
terms
hates.
are not good. Let's not take a limp turn. Let's,
I feel like it'd be like not a very aggressive turn, like a short turn.
No, not a Pyrenees turn. Pyrenees. All right, so April 16th. All right, so we haven't. I mentioned at the top of the show we haven't had any football to talk about, meaningful, actual, real football to talk about since our season ended abruptly at the end of this previous campaign, and it'd be hard to call our offseason, as a Washington football fan who will easily label any offseason over the last 20 years as being super exciting and fun. I'm not calling this offseason that. There's been a lot of ridiculously terrible crap, and there's one topic that we haven't talked about yet tonight, and then we're not going to talk about it tonight. But it's part of the reason why this offseason has sucked so hard. We talk about it every week. Dan Snyder needs to sell the team. Anyways, the lack of like fireworks. Carson Wentz isn't fireworks, right? Like, until the draft comes, that's going to be our fireworks. The fireworks for us is going to be our first and second round picks. But there is football on the horizon. In I don't know what people were thinking. I don't know how people were feeling about it. If you're living, in Wales, maybe you don't necessarily care as much about the USFL. If you're a huge hockey fan, obviously you're going to be watching the playoffs. If you're a huge baseball fan, you're going to be starting to get into baseball season. If you're, an NBA fan, or if you're not a Wizards fan, you're going to be excited about, the NBA playoffs. There's a lot of reasons why the NFL and professional football hasn't taken place this time of year, besides the fact that it just sucks out loud to wear pads, in May and June and beyond. So a lot of competition. But that being said, we're going to get it anyways. It's going to be on TV. Professional football, helmets, pads, teams, American cities, a little bit of some changed up rules, something exciting. I've made the argument that I'm going to watch the USFL out of the gate because I love football, and I'm just so damn curious to see if there's any possible way that they can pull this off and make something compelling to watch. And I've watched like the least I watch the least compelling NFL games on a weekly basis all throughout the season. And if the NFL is awesome and it's full of great players, but there's teams that suck out loud, and there's games that are terrible to watch. We watch those games. I watch those games anyway.
Suck out loud.
It's terrible. And so the USFL, they can at least, I think, be that good. I think. So, all right. So we got the Panthers, the Generals, the Stars, the Maulers, the Stallions, the Gamblers, the Breakers, the Bandits. But Houston, Jersey, Michigan, Birmingham, New Orleans, Philadelphia.
A lot of old school names.
Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay.
Connect to the USFL past, which is cool.
By the way, we just went through 3 names in 20 months. And almost all of these team names.
Almost all of them are best.
I know.
No, I would have taken the Generals. I would have taken the Stars.
Yeah, but you can't be the Washington Generals. It's the most famous losing franchise in the history of losing.
I understand.
But I really wanted it.
That's
It's
why
the
I'm
best
kind of.
name.
That's why
the
I'm kinda rooting
Gamblers.
for 'em.
I would have taken the Gamblers.
That needs to be a Southern thing.
The
That's
Breakers, the
Kenny
Bandits. I would
Rogers.
have been the Bandits, the Washington Bandits. I would have been the Stallions.
Oh God, we'd be the Wet Bandits. It'd be a,
Yes, we
it'd be a
would.
Home
Home
Alone
Alone all
scenario
day.
I actually like
forever.
Ballers better than Commander.
How about this? The head coach of the New Jersey Generals, Mike Riley, came from the San Antonio Commanders.
Yes.
Sack of shit.
So I'm partly like watching this happen, and I'm thinking we just renamed our team and did worse than like a fledgling professional league with like nobodies.
We would like to be the neutrals. We don't want any troubles.
All right, so I wanted to start out this way.
Let's go.
All right, so T, and I told Kevin this before, and I'll tell you, and I'll tell the board this. Back in the day, NBC signed a contract with the English Premier League for soccer.
I wasn't listening, so
I wasn't listening. So
Kidding.
we, as sports fans, we're like, we'll turn the TV on and we're gonna watch it, but like we don't know anything about these teams. Like we need to pick teams. So we decided that there was 1 or 2 or 3 teams that you just couldn't pick because it was like rooting for the Yankees or the Lakers. Like you just can't. If the NBA started and you didn't know any better, you'd be like, oh, I like the Lakers. So you couldn't do like Liverpool or Chelsea or Manchester City. The juggernaut billion-dollar teams that are supposed to win. Not allowed to root for them. So you had to go to the next tier down and pick a team from like up-and-comers who are just doing a little bit, with a little bit of a more stretched budget. I thought we'd start with the team that we think you can't root for, and I think it's easy. I think it's super easy, and I don't.
Can't root for?
Yeah, I think there should be a team that's off limits to be a fan of if you're a Washington Commanders fan, and I don't even think it's close.
Go ahead.
It's the team led by, Mr. Mustache himself. I mean, Jeff Fisher.
I knew you're gonna say this.
Jeff Fisher is the current head coach and general manager, by the way, of the Michigan Panthers. So if you're looking for a team to hate, which if you're going to follow a professional sports league, you got to have a team to hate.
I tried to hate him, Ken.
I know. Okay, tell me why you can't hate them.
Here's why I hate them.
You
Sorry.
do hate the Michigan Panthers?
I hate Jeff Fisher's mayonnaise-y face.
I know you
Yes.
do.
So that is extremely true. I've never, ever
Why has he
wavered.
got mayonnaise on it now?
He smells through the television screen like mayonnaise to me.
Wow.
But here's the problem. You know who plays for the Michigan Panthers, Ken? It's going to make you very sad.
Give it to
T,
me.
you'll understand.
Bring it on.
Two guys that are important to us. One, Mr. Tino Ellis,
Yes.
a DeMatha Stag and Maryland Terrapin, is going to be a starting cornerback for the Michigan Panthers, which troubles me because now poor Tino has to smell mayonnaise every day in practice. But maybe he doesn't. Maybe there's a far enough distance. You know who else plays for Michigan? Gonzaga's own Reggie Corbin from Illinois.
Ooh.
Nice.
So we got two WCAC dudes that got to just go inhale mayo for freaking months. But
I can tell you who.
it makes it hard, Ken. I really wanted to.
No, I agree with you.
I super hate Jeff Fisher. What a dick for what he did for the RG3 draft.
But you know how it's not hard
Come
to hate a team even with WCAC players on it? A team in Philadelphia. Because if you're a Washington Commanders team fan,
They're also
you
the
have to
favorites,
hate
by the way.
Philadelphia.
Can I also tell you both this?
You have to hate Philadelphia.
Both of you guys are providing
Philadelphia,
amazing
anything.
points that I always would hate. I would agree with both of the things you said, but here's the problem. Their first-round draft choice, Brian Scott, the Aaron Rodgers of Division III from Occidental College. This dude is not D3. He grew. He became a guy. He could have gone wherever he wanted, and he was loyal, and he stayed at Occidental College as a D3 guy. And I'm not saying he's hit the lottery. I'm saying no other D3 guy's ever been drafted in the first round of shit as a quarterback. And now the Philadelphia Eagles are going to pack the house with a D3 guy from Occidental
Philadelphia
College.
Stars.
Well,
What I say? I said the Philadelphia guys. I mean, I
Case
don't know.
Kukas.
The Philadelphia U's
I think
that are
so.
going to fucking stock the freaking link with fuck, whatever, with fuck. That's what they're going to do. We froze.
No, I think we're good now. Sorry, guys.
Right
Let's
after
see.
we heard about the Philadelphia penises,
We did it.
Stars.
Yeah. All right, so listen, we're going.
We went to Birmingham. Skip Holtz was a dog. Good man. Great city. This is who these guys are rooting for. I think they're in my final.
We're back.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
You know what it was? It was the USFL talk. The USFL talk, it happens sometimes.
Let me just say, when Jordan Temu,
it's
a
a
former one
second-rate
of ours,
league, it's-
Kyle Lauletta, a former one of ours,
Yep.
Adonis Alexander, those are our formers. I just want to say one thing. They're New Jersey Generals. It's a pretty cool deal. Calvin Ashley, we covered Calvin Ashley was a 5-star going up against Chase Young in high school as a 5-star in a championship game that came down to the final play. Those two were the battle of the day. Calvin Ashley, he batted around. He had some issues with some health. He had some mental health issues that he's come forward and talked about. He went to Auburn, left. He did a bunch of stuff. The only historically black college 5-star signing in the history of historically black colleges. He's the only 5-star that ever played. He went to training camp
Until
last
this
year.
year.
Until this year. I don't know about this year.
well, like
With Jackson State.
Deion Sanders.
Jackson
got one.
State.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying to be drafted, I believe.
Correct.
And he went to training camp with the Bucks last year with Tom Brady, the whole nine, and retired midway through. You remember we had a show where we talked about this. Apparently he's unretired, and he's come out, and he was the second-round draft choice of the New Jersey Generals.
That's sweet.
So good luck, Calvin Ashley. Mike Riley, who was the head coach there.
Yeah.
He's been an NFL head coach. I think that's pretty freaking cool, man. This is a league for guys like this. If one of them squeezes through and figures it out, God bless. Calvin Ashley was a bad man and a big boy.
Well, you know, you wonder why or how one of these leagues doesn't make it, because the NFL, with the limited rosters and everything, I mean, and the amount of people that are playing football at a high level at the next, at the college level, you got to believe that there's got to be some sort of, quote unquote farm system out there other than college that can get these guys ready for the next level. I mean, you want to talk about another guy who took that long path to get to where he was, Cameron Wake, right? The former DeMatha guy who had a pretty good career at Penn State, had to go up to Canada for a little while, came down here and just balled out. So it's not for everybody
Lorenzo.
right out the gate. But a guy like Tino Ellis, who gets an opportunity to get himself on tape, he can make himself, a career in the
What
NFL
about Doug?
by using the
Steve.
USFL.
I mean, traditionally, like, top.
Bo, Herschel, the New Jersey Generals, not Bo. Herschel.
So whether it becomes a G League thing or not, I will say I am excited about the schedule. So first week, I'm gonna watch. The cool thing is you get a Saturday night game, and then you get 3 games on Sunday, noon, 4, and 8 p.m. It's interesting to me. So the sports competition is ridiculously tough. if you're like a middling, crappy football league, like you're not beating NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, the Masters. You know what I mean?
Middling is a lot of support.
Yeah. So, but my bet, pun intended, is that the onslaught of sports betting, I think, and I'm speaking for myself and assuming that there's other people like me, I haven't made a sports bet since the NFL season ended. I'm not interested in betting on the NBA. I'm not interested in betting on the NHL.
You just made 4 fucking whiskey bets here tonight on air live.
Erroneous.
Fucking 16
Erroneous.
Minutes, you psycho.
Erroneous.
I mean, I don't know how you deal with your addictions, but I like to come straight forward and be upfront with mine.
Erroneous.
You're a psychopath.
Erroneous.
How dare you say that out loud when we're sitting right here? Holy shit.
Listen.
5 minutes ago.
Am I late for the free gambling giveaways? Jesus Christ.
These are allegations, and they're unsubstantiated
Why is
and
my whole family in
unproven.
the other room?
I'm thinking.
I won this house in a craps game, bitches.
As a responsible gambler, I'm thinking about betting on a league that's never played before, and that we know nothing about, and that we've never seen ever on a field of play in our entire lives. I'm just saying, I'm being responsible. And I'm kind of excited about that. And I think
they have labels on all these
league.
machines and things you place bets on that say if you have a problem, there's a number to call.
I'm just saying.
If you eat the wrong tickets, it doesn't count. It never happened.
I'm going to have you gambling by the end of this show. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have you gambling by the end of this show.
There's a 50-50 if I shit myself. I don't know if that counts because I farted right at the beginning of the show, and Ken stopped his saying and said, "Nice one." And I felt like I should be embarrassed, but I wasn't.
I think the draft is coming from my right to left.
Yeah, and it's also the roasted broccoli is really.
By the way, the hardness of the chair sent it out both ways, like from the front thigh region and the cheek.
Yep.
It was like
that you
double
should like.
entendre. I think that's what that's called.
That deserves a like. If
Double
you're still watching
entendre.
tonight. All right, we're gonna come back next week. It's not gonna be trade back Tuesday next week. I think we're gonna do some. We're gonna rock out with our mock out. I think that should be what we're doing next week. We're rocking out with our mock out next Tuesday night. That will at least do the first 12 picks, which was a good idea by Greg. We'll linger on through the middle to the 2/3 to the first round. AGH, you're right. 10 Our Fathers, 10 Hail Marys. That goes straight to him.
Farting in front of your friends is 10 Hail Marys these days? Holy hell, get me some rosaries.
All I can say is I've not placed a sports bet, and I can't remember the last time. And that's true.
If you don't remember it, it didn't happen, which I also subscribe to.
Exactly. I was a different area code. We will be back in 7 days. Until then, he's Tim Strachan.
It's good to be back. I promise I'll try to make it 2 weeks in a row.
Come on.
It's been a while, but I'll.
Hey, now you just.
I'm pretty sure I can do it.
I'm
Pretty sure I can do it.
All right.
I'm crossing the fingers. I can't cross.
He's Kevin Ricca.
Wait till you see my smock I'm going to wear for next week. When was the last time you wore
Your
one?
smock for the mock.
Yeah. It also doubles as a moo-moo. Now it's a smock.
I sold cotton candy at Six Flags. I wore a smock every day.
I bet you did.
Yeah, I rocked that smock, just so you know. Ask me what else I wore.
I hope it doesn't rhyme.
It might rhyme. We are still live, EO. We are still live. There's 12 people watching, and we only have 3 likes. So we're gonna have to do
Tom
better.
Marangolo is still on the board.
We're gonna have to do better next week, guys.
Yeah.
We just did not get all the thumbs ups, but you know what? We're gonna earn your thumbs up, and we appreciate you guys for giving us your Tuesday night
You guys
time.
are the best, man.
We will be back next Tuesday night, 7 days from now. Until then, on behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. This was, thank God, it's Tuesday. We'll see you next week, and we are still live.
I love watching it on delay. I love your Italian hand